Traffickers did not see wildlife crime as high risk, but they saw it as very profitable within West Africa.
Ils tuent par exemple les éléphants et ils tuent les hippopotames pour aller vendre et prendre cet argent pour acheter les armes et venir encore faire la rébellion ou tuer encore les animaux avec.
We know that trade can really impact certain vulnerable species to the point of near extinction.
We have iconic species like the African elephant, like the African grey parrot or the Timni parrot in West Africa, now the pangolins, but also the chimpanzees, the cross-river gorilla. I can name other ones, but these species are suffering from the fact that there is no coordination in the effort to protect them from the illegal international trade.
On a yearly average, over 200,000 birds are shipped into Trinidad. Sometimes up to 95% of those birds die in shipment and after when it enters the country.
Et nous avons plusieurs espèces de faune, mais qui sont menacées par le braconnage. Et le braconnage aujourd'hui n'est pas seulement une menace qui pèse sur la faune, mais elle pèse aussi sur la sécurité alimentaire, sur la sécurité des États.
The borders are porous. The criminals can move freely. Wildlife crime is transnational organized crime. The criminals are coordinated. They are talking to each other. They are developing new technology, new techniques for getting past the customs and wildlife agents. So no one country can deal with this on its own.
We need the capacity globally to be able to implement CITES. And to do that well, we need conservation leaders that are just as globally distributed as the species that we're trying to protect. There's 38,000 species listed under CITES from all over the world, and so we need conservation leaders and scholars from every corner of the planet to protect species.
Unsustainable and illegal trade can't be addressed at an international scale if countries do not have the technical know-how to use the mechanisms created through CITES to regulate their trade. One way U.S. government agencies support CITES globally is by providing these scholarships for people working on CITES issues in countries that are most vulnerable to illegal wildlife trade. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, the Department of the Interior's International Technical Assistance Program, and the U.S. Agency for International Development West Africa Program. We're all working very closely together in offering these comprehensive scholarships for a really unique master's program that's called the Management and Conservation of Species and Trade, the International Framework. We more informally call it the CITES Master's Course. The curriculum specifically focuses on the scientific and the technical processes that basically are the foundation for the implementation of CITES. And really, it's the only program of its kind.
Soy Margarita África Clemente Muñoz, España. Soy directora del curso de máster. El curso empezó en 1998 y bueno, hemos tenido 14 ediciones recibiendo 390 alumnos de 106 países. Fundamentalmente, este máster es un máster de formación en el convenio de comercio internacional de especies de fauna y flora silvestre que pueden estar amenazadas precisamente por el abuso de ese comercio internacional.
Dr. Clemente has dedicated the last 2 decades of her life to developing a graduate level program that would help people working on wildlife trade issues to have the tools, the language, the expertise to participate in the deliberations and the decision-making processes for CITES. Its curriculum is basically broken down into two main components. One is 3 months of intensive coursework at the International University of Andalusia's campus. And so all the students travel to Spain and they take classes together on biodiversity and the other scientific foundations of CITES, while also learning about the intricacies of how CITES is administered. After the 3 months in Spain, the scholars travel back to their countries to begin the second phase of their training, which includes 9 months of field research, where they focus on CITES issues that are relevant to their country's needs.
The topic is Introduction of Sea Cucumber CITES Species listed in Appendix 2 for trade in Zanzibar, Tanzania.
El trabajo de tesis es muy importante porque muchas de las tesis han venido a resolver problemas que tenían los países, sus propios países, dentro de la convención. Pues, por ejemplo, ha habido tesis de todo tipo, tesis que han dado lugar a reformas legislativas en los propios países para mejorar la aplicación de CITES en estos países.
So this program has vastly changed my ability to make an impact in Belize in CITES implementation. My thesis topic was assessing the regeneration by coppicing of the Albergia stevensoni in southern Belize. We barely have any scientific information about this rosewood species, so my thesis actually provided the much needed baseline information for the forest departments. I can provide advice to the management authority. I'm confident that I can provide trainings to enforcement. I can do public awareness. So I'm really confident in that. We have been providing some outreach to universities and high school on CITES management.
My name is Adeline Ngwa, and I'm a teacher. But I work in the north region of Cameroon in the Garua Wildlife College. My thesis topic is about the management constraints and the perspective for sustainable use of Pterocarpus erinaceus in Cameroon. Pterocarpus erinaceus is a plant species. In English it is called rosewood, African rosewood. It has not only the wood that is used, but also the bark of the tree that is used for medicinal purposes. I'm going to impart this knowledge to my colleagues so that when they will go back to the field, they will know the species that are under CITES, that are registered in CITES, and they will know how to manage CITES species.
Oui, je m'appelle Maran Gallier, je suis ingénieure des eaux et forêts. Je travaille pour le ministère des Forêts et de la Faune du Cameroun. Lors du master, on nous a appris comment analyser les propositions d'amendement, comment savoir quel est l'amendement qui peut être validé ou pas. Donc c'est ça que j'ai pu utiliser pour venir ici. Tous les membres de la délégation ont pu avoir mon avis sur les différentes propositions d'amendement. Et ça, c'est ma petite fierté d'avoir pu dire avec des faits concrets pourquoi on doit soutenir ou pas une proposition d'amendement. Déjà, avant de quitter le pays, il m'est revenu la tâche d'étudier toutes les propositions d'amendement des annexes. Ce que je ne savais pas faire avant, je le faisais de manière... je n'avais pas la bonne démarche.
One of the reasons our scholarships are so important is that we help make the CITES Master's course more accessible. We cover costs like tuition and travel and research. We help arrange travel logistics. We offer leadership, team building, and mentorship opportunities, and we also give the scholars a chance to go to the CITES Conference of the Parties, where they can see everything they've learned being put into practice. One of the most powerful outcomes of the CITES Master's course, and we see it time and time again, are these really strong professional and personal bonds that the scholars form with one another. These relationships that they form while they're students pave the way for a global network that lasts long after they get their degree.
Siempre será necesario trabajar con actores, aliados, público-privados, academia, todos los que en la región estemos compartiendo recursos migratorios de fauna y flora, donde muchas de las amenazas que tienen las especies son comunes para toda la región. Entonces, además de tener esas alianzas a nivel nacional, se requieren alianzas transfronterizas que puedan garantizar conectividad, que puedan garantizar siempre que los recursos están y hacer un uso sostenible de ellos.
Today we see the products of this partnership sitting in a broad number of country delegations at the CITES COP. We see them training other people in various forestry schools, police academies in their countries. We have seen them contribute and lead the process for drafting a West Africa strategy for combating wildlife crime. These people are leaders in their own rights today.
Et nous souhaitons que cette formation continue pour former la majorité des gens dans la CITES en Afrique. Et ça, on va relever ce défi, le commerce illégal des espèces de faune et de flore sauvages menacées d'extinction.
Ayant certainement compris que l'Afrique a besoin d'être soutenue sur la mise en œuvre de la CITES, ayant compris que la meilleure manière de nous soutenir, c'est nous former, c'est nous donner la matière pour qu'on comprenne mieux ce que nous avons à faire. Parce que si on ne comprend pas mieux ce qu'on a à faire, ben on ne fait pas bien. Voilà, c'est tout.
Unfortunately, there are still a number of countries that have not been able to take advantage of the opportunities offered through this graduate program.
The parties that are often not in compliance are those that are the most under-resourced, and I think it's incumbent upon parties that do have the resources and do have the capacity to support and provide assistance that we do so.
The CITES Masters program needs to be expanded to many other people, many other states. For example, I am the only one in Rwanda. I would like to have many more people from Rwanda going through this program, as well as other countries. If all countries can have many people that go through this program, it can be a game changer for CITES and how we implement CITES into our countries.
Some issues are not issues that are national in scope. We are talking about shared resources. The lion population that we have in the north of Togo is the same population that moves across the borders into Benin, Niger, and Burkina Faso. It just stands to reason that animals know no borders, and so our efforts should not be constrained by borders.